We're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Heal and Regenerate podcast. Listen, this episode is especially special today, especially special because we are honoring Dementia Awareness Month. Not just persons who are loved ones that are struggling with dementia, but for the caregivers, the everyday heroes, the stories that we do not hear, the stories that will touch our lives. We are here with some amazing, and my new word, fantabulous people who have walked this journey, who are still walking this journey. And what we want to do today is to be able to have them to share these awesome testimonies with us so that we can learn from them. Some of you, I know this may be a very touchy issue. You may feel uncomfortable being able to share about it, but we want you to know that we are here for you today and even after the podcast. We want to be able to give you resources and people that you can come hand in hand with that will help you to be able to make it through this journey that you're on. So I am your host, Apostle Eva Fagan, and
I'm Pastor Ty, your co-host. So dementia is not just a diagnosis, but it's a journey that families go on with the people that are diagnosed with this disease. And along that journey, caregivers often become the invisible second patient because they're taking care of their family members. This is not the same person that they knew as mom, dad, because their memory is going. So their stories are filled with sacrifice. They have to give a lot of sacrifice, love, faith, and resilience.
And today we are blessed, guys, with some amazing caregivers. Like I said earlier, they're going to share their experiences. They're going to talk about struggles. They're going to talk about the triumphs so that we can learn and we can support one another hand in hand. And also, we want to remind the caregivers on the line and those of you may not have stepped into this journey before, those of you who may not feel comfortable to share this journey, we want you to know. I want you to look at me right here. You are not alone. So on today, we pray at the end of this that you will feel supported and that you will feel, validated. So I also want to take a few minutes now that we did the introduction, is let's just kind of let these awesome caregivers just begin to share a little bit about who they are and talk about how they stepped into this journey. You can just jump in however you want to go.
Okay.
My name is
Ready, set, go.
Somebody was speaking. So
I think it was Lady Lynne Gamble Gordon.
Yes. I just like to say my name is Lynne Gamble Gordon, and I'm a retired school teacher, and I live in Louisville, Kentucky. But I'm originally from Port Arthur, Texas, and my parents are still here. Both parents, my mother is Margaret Gamble, and she's the one with dementia, and she's 88 years old. And my father, who is 90 years old, he's a caregiver for my mother. And how I got involved in this is that when my mother first was diagnosed with dementia, my father was able to care for her, and he took on the role as a person who cooked, who washed clothes. He bathed my mom, combed her hair. He did everything for my mother. And I used to come down and stay about a month. But as I was here, I started noticing that it's not just my mother who needs care. My father also needed care. And so, you can be the one caring for someone, but the question is who's going to care for you? So I decided that I would be both my parents' care keepers. I'm their keepers. I'm the one who decided that I wasn't married, my brother's married, and that I would come down and do the most. And so, as for me, it was really tough at the beginning because you're trying to get things in place, like getting other caregivers to help, finding resources. And that was the toughest part of the battle. But in it all, I decided that I wasn't going to complain. I was going to embrace the journey. And it's when you finally embrace the journey that things start to settle down for you and things start to fall in place for you. So I've just decided that if my parents are not well, then I'm not well either. So I've accepted the role of caregiver and I don't have any regrets.
Amen. Anybody want to chime in next?
I will. I am Dr. Carlotta Allen, and like Lynn, I was an educator for 35 years. I am now retired, thank God, and I am enjoying that journey of my life. I assumed caregiver's position with my aunt, the renowned Coach Barbara Jacket, who was a woman of strength for many years, one that we relied on for so many things. And to see her in a position where she was kind of just deteriorating was a very, very difficult reality for me to assume. It was tough to watch her diminish to where she was. And my aunt, who was already struggling with blindness, then on top of that, she developed the dementia. I can't say, I've heard people say that it was a tough journey. My aunt is now deceased. She's been deceased about 3 years. I don't know if it was ever tough for me. The work, if you will, the laboring didn't seem like labor. It seemed more like love. It seemed like what I was supposed to do. My aunt and I had kind of talked about what life would look like as she got older. And so she kind of prepared me for the next seasons of life and kind of how she wanted it done. Bobby was a planner, so she planned her life out like 100%. Financially, she set her life up so that we weren't burdened with having to figure out if we were going to put in a facility or whatever. She had already taken care of all of those financial obligations. So it made it pretty seamless for us to move her from the home, because she was with us at first, and then that aggression, where they kind of start fighting emotionally and sometimes physically. It got to be a bit much. And so we had to put her in a very nice facility, and they cared for her 100%. I thank God for that option, because as a caregiver, because it can be exhausting sometimes, you miss those opportunities to just have fun with them. Like you're tired. So when you really want to just sit down and break bread with them, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. So when we were able to put it in the facility, you can chime in at any point. When I went to visit Aunt Bobby, it was a really good visit. It was fruitful, right? Because I wasn't having to do the work. Somebody else was doing the work. And to spend those moments with her, even though she wasn't 100% Aunt Bobby, she could still feel me. She could feel my presence. She sometimes couldn't call my name, and she said, "Well, that's my little niece, the little one." In her mind, she could conjure up enough to say, "I identify you. I can feel your spirit," right? And so it was just good to be able to put her in this home where they cared for her 100%. Doctors were there, nurses were there, everything she needed, she had right there at her fingertips. So when I went in 3-4 times a week, because I spent a lot of time over there, sometimes I would go by and have breakfast with her, or some days I would go and have lunch, or some nights if I just wasn't feeling quite good about it, I'll just drop in there and check and make sure everything was well, because you got to check, because you just got to check. to be sure that people are doing what they're supposed to do. So that's kind of the beginning of my story. Babe, you have anything?
Well, I want to just add, it's certainly following what Lynn said, who's taking care of the caregiver. And that's kind of how I would say to you that you need to partner with as many people as you can. Because my part came about by trying to support my wife. And it's good to hear her say that it was not as emotional as it could have been, because I tried to fill in that gap, what the difficulty factors were. Because mine started with caring and not just the caregiver. And as our relationship grew over time, I became more of the caregiver because time allowed it me to do that. But I was really in all of my giving was trying to take care of my wife at the same time. So I would say to you that don't walk this journey alone, and even though that person may not be your spouse, may not be that person that you assume under the title should be there, the more hands, the better.
Good.
Is a space, whether it's sometimes we would have family gatherings and little parties and it would make everything so much better because you would have that moment and create those memories. So for me, I took it on as a ministerial assignment after a while. I got walked through some levels of frustration, if you would, because we were negligent in the beginning. Negligent. We were negligent. In fact, the neighbor said, if y'all don't do something, I'm gonna call the people on you. Because you love a person so much, you try not to be forceful with them.
That's good.
And,
Oh my God, that's good.
and we didn't get to the space where we should have made some decisions long before we made those decisions. And so for me and Aunt Bobby, it was easier for me to make difficult decisions, even though she didn't want to agree or she was going to hurt herself. Somebody has to make the difficult decisions to take them out of the comfortable life and into the life that's better for them and help them transition through that space into what they call the new normal. And so that's my part. Just some of the real difficult decisions that had to be made for a person as strong as Barbara Jean Jacket. Was not an easy task at all. Mm-hmm.
This is good, and I want to. Ty, I know you're going up next, but I know we still have. Well, after we have a few more people, but that all of this information is so pertinent and it's so good because underneath the theme you're hearing is even though you're taking care of people, who's taking care of me? Who's taking care of the caregiver? And as a mental health person, that is sticking out. The weight of that. And I know Dr. T or whoever wants to go next, but just jumping at other ones we haven't heard from. Lord, it's so much. Just who want to go next? It's so good. It's so good.
I will go. So I would say, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dr. T. We need to get all y'all introduced first.
Okay. So
Yes.
I'm Dr. Tangela from Houston, Texas. My mother was diagnosed for 5 years ago. And so I had to make the decision to pull her out of her comfort place and stand by herself and move her in with me and my ex-husband, husband at the time. And so she stayed with me 2 years. She was still high functioning, able to do everything, but we just saw the memory and different things that was going on. And so then within those 2 years, I went through a separation and went through a divorce. So I had to send my mom to live with my brother. Very heartbreaking because I didn't want to. I'm the youngest in the family. So mom, you have to know her. She's prayer warrior. She prayed for everybody in the family. Great cook and all of these things. So to watch her lose the ability to be able to do those things and remember everything was hard. And so stayed with my brother about a year, and then I had to move her into a group home because it got too much for them. And so now I'm responsible for going back and forth. The people that take care of her are very great people. I had to make the decision because of my background against my family, but I'm the youngest and I know more when it comes to that. And so in the midst of it, one of the things like Dr. the doctor was saying, and Apostle Eva, self-care. So I had to go to the hospital myself because taking care of my
Wow.
mom who had dementia at the time, my husband was dealing with major depression, and just me taking care of everything was so hard until I ended up in the hospital, and I had to come to the realization I can't continue to do this because I was trying to take care of him, her, and him, and just, you know, my children, just everything. It became too much. So I had to make a decision. I can't continue to do this alone because family was there, but it was like a visit an hour here and that's it. And so that just wasn't gonna work for me. And so I had to make that decision. But she remembers the, you
Uh-oh.
Lost her.
She got a phone call.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I'd like to
Okay.
expound on what Lawrence was talking about when Miss Jackie got.
Lynn, can
Yeah.
you hear me, lady? Like, beautiful lady. Let me get them other two introduced, and I definitely want you to come right back with that because I know it's good. I know. Did she come back? Let's see.
Dr.
She's
T.
back.
There you go. There you
okay.
go.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm in a bad area. But okay, so it was I just had to make that decision, but she remembers us, but the grandchildren, we have to constantly remind her. It's like she returned back to her youth. It's so funny. She loves to dance. And for some reason, she fixated on getting a husband. And so it's just funny. We went to church a couple of weeks ago when she gonna lean over and whisper, and like, is there any single men in the house? Like, Mama, this ain't why we came to church. So it's funny moments, and I just take those funny moments and just, you know, try to cheer her up and cheer myself up. And so I'm just grateful to just be there and get her. We try to get her most weekends when I have a lot on my plate, but I try to get her some weekends to spend time with her and do. And so, but taking care of yourself is important. And I realized I had to do that because it sent me to the hospital.
Jesus,
And
Jesus,
that's
and Jesus. And listen, this time it's going so fast, but I want to get everybody in there so we can come back, link back to Lady Gamble Gordon to see that good juiciness she getting ready to bring in here. We need to hear from Dr. E and Sonya with these two beautiful ladies.
I can go. Hi, I'm
Oh,
Sonya.
Sonya.
I'm Sonya Cates. I used to work with Miss Eva and with the city of Alvin. Love her. So my dad's journey started probably about 2 years ago. We kind of noticed he was starting to repeat himself quite a bit, and we were like, "Oh, it's just because Dad's getting older." You know, I was in total denial. My dad, the love of my life, my rock, you know, may have some, you know, dementia issues. So he told us at Christmas, when it first started, he said, "Take pictures of me. I may not be around much longer." And of course we said, "Oh, Dad, don't say that." We took our photos, and then it was just a few months after that is it dominoed. So he kind of knew in his, you know, what he was going through. And so then it just kind of dominoed. It is a struggle. I, you know, kind of kept things to myself because I wasn't sure what to do, you know, how to feel. You know, I felt anger, I felt depression. So mentally it took a toll on me because I'm so close to Dad. Like, he's my everything.
Your
And
twin
so,
too.
yeah, and my twin, that's my twin. And so going, you know, I had to do research and, you know, putting my head in the books and looking online, you know, and trying to figure out how to feel was a struggle for me. I felt guilt that I didn't pick up sooner. So getting through my own struggles, you know, I was like, now I need to focus on Dad. And so, you know, we had some troubles and turmoil with he, you know, working full time. I couldn't take care of him because we were afraid he would escape. And so, you know, cameras can only do so much. So we did have to put him in a home. The home was not where he needed. That particular nursing home didn't care for Dad. And so we almost lost him because of a fall. He had a brain injury. But now he's in the best place we could put him. He loves his nurses and he's thriving. And he sings on Sunday when they have church. So he doesn't come out of his room for anything. He'll stand in the doorway and sing and then goes right back into his room. So that's a blessing.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. These are some powerful
Yes, they
testimonies.
are.
And this testimony that's coming next is gonna, just before you come in, Dr. E, I hope I got permission to say Dr. E, or do you want to say Dr. Ekiria? I mean, I affectionately want to say Dr. E for some strange reason. I don't know. I just want to say it. Just let me know. Don't say it, Apostle, if you don't want me to say it. But can I say Dr. E?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So Dr. E is coming, and just how this facility that she built, that is with the memory care piece in there, her story, what she's going to tell you, it provoked, or not provoked, but unctioned her to build this facility. And without further ado, Dr. E, will you take us on to the next level?
My name is Dr. Ekiria Collins, and I live in Houston, Texas. And my mother had dementia, and as well as her mother. So I was raised in the home with my grandmother because she could no longer take care of herself. So my mom took care of her. My mom was the only daughter, and brought us to live with us from Louisiana. And so I was raised to see my grandmother. She had dementia my whole life from the time I was born. And so when it started happening with my mom, I already knew the signs from my grandmother. And of course, my grandmother did pass when I graduated high school. But as an adult, after I graduated from college and moved back home to Houston, I slowly started seeing signs here and there. But of course, you know, your parents are strong. Some parents are strong-headed and, you know, in denial themselves. And so I've had to learn is that you have to meet people where they are. But you also have to, you know, make the ultimate decision, because when physicians or social workers tell you it's not safe for them to live by themselves anymore, you have to, you know, do something about it. And so my mom never wanted to be in a nursing home. She never put her mom in a nursing home. So that was guilt right there of, okay, what do? I own multiple businesses. And part of that was to help my mom live the best life that she could, because my father had already passed away. My father was a pastor, and he had colon cancer. So he passed away. Make sure you take care of your mom. And they put me through school, and you know, that's the least that I owed her. So what I did for the first 3 years, I paid for 24-hour care for someone to live in with her. And that went good until that person got too comfortable. And I would do my, it's like I saw somebody else say earlier, your sister, that you have to check in. You do have to check in. And I didn't like what I was seeing, and my siblings didn't like what that person got too comfortable. So then we were told, well, what about residential assisted livings or personal care homes? Never had heard about that in my life. Thought it was like, so it's multiple people living together under one roof that don't know each other. She's not going to go for that, because again, my mom was headstrong. But we knew that nursing homes wasn't really the answer either, because unfortunately, this is all like around COVID time. A lot of the nursing homes didn't have enough workers. And whenever you go to a hospital for anything, my mama started having a lot of falls. And that's like one thing that you will notice when people get their first onset dementia, you'll see a lot of falling going on. And if they're living by themselves, that's not good. And they always put them in a skilled nursing facility when they come out the hospital. And a lot of those skilled nursing facilities are nursing homes. And sometimes they'll keep them if the insurance pays for it, or if you pay the difference from what the insurance is going to pay for and from whatever Social Security or whatever money they have saved. And so I knew my mom just wasn't happy in that type of environment. So I did go and look at a few residential assisted livings, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try it out. So we tried it out. We actually was blessed enough I rented out her home to for income to pay for her expenses. And the lady who rented out the home ended up making it a residential assisted living. So she was able to live in her own home and be cared for in her own home, visit with her neighbors, sit on her porch like she did for years. That worked out really, really well. And so I went up on the rent.
Oh, wow.
The lady was like, well, I'm moving, but I'm not taking your mom. You're going to have to find somebody else. And so ended up finding another residential assisted living that only had one other couple there. And that worked out pretty good until they decided my mom was urinating too often. They didn't want to change her. And they took away some of her medication, and she ended up in ICU for like 3 months. So that didn't go too well, but then that also sparked the fire in me to say that, you know what, I really want to open up a residential assisted living, and I want to do it the right way. I do have a healthcare background. I worked at Texas Children and MD Anderson for about 15 years before going full-time entrepreneur. And so I said, yeah, you know, I'm going to use the skills that I learned in my past life, because I feel like nothing is ever wasted. And I'm going to honor my mom and open up a residential assisted living for memory care. And
Yes.
wasn't able to do that while she was living. But with few months after, I did open up a residential assisted living in Sugarland, Texas, where we focused on memory care. And we had the honor of taking care of Ernestine Alexander from Fort Arthur. So if there's anybody here from Fort Arthur, they should know her, because she taught in the
A
school.
little home economics teacher. Come on, Miss. Yes.
Yes, a joy to take care of. She taught me so many life lessons about being elegant and graceful. And life must have children. She didn't have children either. And we was able to, she poured into me, you know, even in her older age, that, you know, she was one of my first residents at the residential assisted living. And so we spent a lot of time together playing dominoes, just having laughs and fun. And she stayed on a diet even until the end. She watched her shake.
Beauty queen.
Her routine. She was a lady until, you know, until she passed away, and we were by her side the whole time. And so that was very wonderful for her to pour into me like that. And so that's my story of how I got into dementia awareness, and, you know, taking care of my mom and being her primary caregiver along with my siblings, but also, you know, the decision maker when it was time for her to move to a facility and not be on her own anymore.
Listen, this is so good. All this information. I'm coming back. Beautiful lady, Gamble Garden, I'm coming back to you. I'm tying you into this question because we have, so y'all, we gonna probably go over a little bit because it's just, this information is so good, and it's tools, and just a little bit if you're okay. So lady, Gamble Garden, I'm coming back to you. Pick up right then, and then please, right there, Ty, before we go, tell us about that wall. And we got pictures and stuff. I don't even know where to go. Go ahead, you go, then I'm gonna go from wherever you go.
Well, I first wanted to expound on what Lawrence was saying, that Miss Jack had got violent and they didn't really know what to do. But I want to let people out there know that there are doctors that can help you with that. And how we found out about it is my mother's best friend who lived next door had dementia also, and they found a doctor in Houston named Dr. Nakawa. And Dr. Nakawa, you know, we went to him and he sent her through different little tests. And so he prescribed different medications to slow the progress of the dementia. So the medicines that he gave her controlled the anxiety, it controlled the violent behavior, and he could also adjust the medicine. So we always talk with him and he can adjust the medication. I guess until it doesn't work anymore, you know, we hate to think about that. So I just like people to know that there is hope out there. And also I like people to know about dementia patients. You still need to talk to them and let them know what you're doing. Like if you're bathing her, Miss Gamble, I'm getting ready to bathe you. I'm getting ready to turn you on your side. They still understand more than you think they do. You also need to put them on a schedule. We have a schedule. At this time, she eats breakfast. At this time, she's using the restroom. At this time, we're pushing her in her wheelchair. At this time, we're doing exercise with her. So the more involved you are with your patient, I feel the better that they are, and to remain on a schedule. And so they know that schedule. So they kind of know every day, this is what we're going to do at this time. Even if they're not thinking it, their body automatically does what you're asking them to do. And we have a coach in this house, Mr. Gamble, Coach Gamble, and he won't allow me or the caregivers to just let Ms. Gamble lie in the chair. He wants Ms. Gamble to be present, you know, sit up in her chair, turn on the television, read to her, listen to a little music, talk with her. And I think those things has helped with the success of what we're doing here. And also in that process, you have to take care of yourself. Self-care is the most important thing that you can do. You know, I've been so tired. When I first got involved, I used to try to do everything. You can't do
Bring
everything. We have other caregivers here that help,
her
you
step
know,
up.
but
She's
I was
talking.
stepping over the caregivers. You know, I was just trying to do everything for my mom and dad. So finally, I had to step back because in the end, you'll be so tired. I remember I was so tired, I hit a wall. Like, God,
Oh,
where do I
wow.
go? Where do I go from here? And once I hit that wall, it looked like it just dawned on me that you just can't do everything. And I would also like to say we need to compliment the other caregivers that's in your home that's working with you because they are doing, you know, the best they can. But sometimes I sit down and talk to my caregivers because I'm the one that knows who my mother was. Okay. So I tell them little tidbits that they can do that my mother liked, you know, so they'll know my mother and not just be doing a job when they're combing my mother's hair. I know how my mother liked her hair combed. Or I know the things that she likes to eat. Say, for instance, in her salad, I put purple onions. And I noticed that the caregiver was putting the onions to the side. I said, you
Mm.
might not like those, but my mother liked those. So all this to say is that you have to look at the fact that the caregivers are working so hard. And I know that we like to tell them what we like sometimes, but they're in it. They're in the long game. You know, sometimes people just come in, well, you can do this better or you can do that better, but they're doing the long game. So sometimes you can just be quiet about a few things. So in this process, you need to think about you. What do I need? And so
Mhm.
when I was going through this journey, you go through a multitude of emotions. I call it a roller coaster. Today I might be happy, tomorrow I might be sad. You know, sometimes we suffer from a little depression also because we spend a lot of time taking care of others and not giving ourselves what we need. So what I found is that through prayer, uh, God gave me insight on a talent that I already had, but I didn't realized that I had that talent. So one day it was my mother's birthday, and I was looking for something that I could give her for her birthday. You know, she had dementia. What can I do? So as I was going to sleep that night, God said, do a garden wall. You've already done a shelf with a garden. Do a garden wall for her. So on the wall, I put flowers. I also embedded pictures of family, friends, and people who are also uh, a part of this journey. And that's the most important thing I heard someone else say. You can't do this alone. So we have a lot of people from the community. I mean, we don't want for anything over here. We have people bringing in food who will go to the grocery store for my parents, who will take daddy fishing, who will come here and volunteer to do just about anything that we desire. So I just want people to know that in this journey, you need to find some type of therapy for yourself. So I found that in doing the journey. And then I moved on to doing making jewelry, making jackets, just doing all types of things. And God gave this to me. I never went to a class. I never, it's just visions that I have of things that I want to do. And He gave this to me. And so this gives me, this consoles me during times, tough times. And so, um, these pieces give me a voice, just like this jacket. When Kamala Harris was running for president, I was feeling real political and I was pulling for Campbell. So that's a Democratic jacket and it has all the things freedom and all the things that she stood for and the things that I believed in. So every piece that I do has a piece of me in it. So when you see pictures of a lot of hats, that symbolizes that we as caregivers wear many hats. You know, I might be a cook today. I might have to cut the grass today. I might have to bathe my mother. I may have to do so many different things. So the hats symbolize the many hats that we wear. Also, when you look at my pictures, the pictures of my hats and clothing and different things, the colors symbolize how I was feeling when I was making. The bright colors symbolize happiness. The darker colors, I might have been upset, or I might have been depressed, or whatever. So the things that I do tell a story. But I do want people to know that through all of this, the tough times, that something beautiful can still come out of it. And that's what I want people to know, that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
And I want to get right there. So we're open and we still have time. Right there where she is in the present moment, I just want you to jump in right there, because we have a whole list of questions, but you guys are so well knowledge and well versed in it. Y'all done covered the whole sheet. So what I want you to do right there is just where she is with the coping things, wherever you want to share right now, it's all still flowing in the Holy Ghost. What would you like to say? Ty, can you bring up a picture of maybe Dad and let Sonya talk about what she does right now?
I can.
We got everybody's loved ones on here, but we just want to kind of hear, because we know there's a plethora of info. Look at Dad.
Look at my dad.
Your twin.
my twin. So the handpick has a lot of meaning to me. I had a dementia bracelet on, and the elephant, symbolizes, memory and stuff. So when he fell, he was in ICU, and the doctors told us, hey, he's going to pass, y'all need to prepare. They put things on the outside of the hospital room. So I'm holding his hand. We're singing, Amazing Grace is my dad's favorite hymn. So my brother started praying or playing the song. We're all ready to say goodbye, and he has his eyes closed. They take the meds down, and he was just on his own. And then he opens his eyes, and he gets a little attitude with me, and he goes, oh, I'm not going to die. And we were like, cut the music. And we went from the deathbed to he's still with us. But he, through the journey, we've had the ups and downs. I had to learn to take the moments that are funny and let them be funny. And it was okay to laugh at certain things he does. He went through, he has an ankle monitor on at the nursing home, because he feels if he takes his clothing off, he's invisible and he can leave. So it's going through, it's funny, but not funny at first. We were like, oh my gosh, what if he escapes and he's running around Lake Jackson, but he's found a place that cares for him, and we're comfortable. And he has the best nurse, Miss Cody, and he adores her. He loves his nurse. She's been with him since he got out of the hospital, and she's still with him. So by the grace of God, this woman has just loved my dad where other people may have not been. So, sorry.
That's okay. Dr. Ekiria, I wanted to ask you a question right there. This is a beautiful mom here. Doc, right there where somebody is listening, 2 questions I want to ask. Pastor Ty, you okay with me going with this right now? Okay, baby. Okay. What can a person say, ooh, I can't afford to put my family member in a home like that. I have to stay home. What are some memory care tools that we can share with people that they can do in their homes, even though they might not be able to afford to put them in the home? What are some things that you can share, a couple of things that you can share with our listeners that they can actually do in their homes to help with the memory care portion for their loved one?
Okay. So I'm going to talk about, actual physical tools, but I also want to talk about just how you can manage, how you can cope with dealing with someone with dementia, you definitely want to meet them where they are. But maybe you can't afford to put them in a residential assisted living or a nursing home. Maybe you can just get someone for a few hours a day. And that's how you initially, that's how we got started. And then as I was able to get more income, I was able to have them live in. But you need to also consider yourself, and you can't do everything like some of the other people that said today, like they tried to do everything and then you end up burning out. And so even if you can get some volunteers from your neighborhood, from your community, from your church, to volunteer to come for an hour or two. I'm going to say the H word here, hospice. A lot of people, a lot of African-American people do not believe in hospice. In fact, your favorite friend, my older sister, refused to allow my mom to be in hospice, and I respected that decision because I wanted all of my siblings and I to be on the same page. However,
Yes.
being a residential assisted living owner, hospice is our friend. Hospice is not a death sentence. They are there to help you, and they actually have volunteers that will come out and sit with your loved one and give you a break. And so I want to give those tools first, and then actually what I've learned through this process is there are a lot of sensory tools, just like the sensory wall that the lady, her mom, you can purchase sensory toys as well. Just Amazon. That's what I did. And they help. All of my people that I have basically were like high up executives at their jobs. Like I had one guy, he worked for IBM. He was a top executive. Had another guy that was an accountant, another guy that's a lawyer. And so the accountant guy, I always give him his little briefcase, and it's like a sensory booklet that looks like a briefcase. And I told him to say, hey, you got a meeting, you have to make sure you have your reports ready. And, we go through the booklet, we, some little dial things like a calculator in there. And so there are tools that you can work with. I have another guy who loves to match cards together, and they have large print cards now for the elderly. So many different devices on Amazon, believe it or not, that are affordable that you can get for your loved ones. So either you are a volunteer, or if you can afford to pay someone a few hours a day to come in and assist you to give you that break, take the break. Don't feel guilty. I felt so guilty that I couldn't just be the person to take care of my mom like she did her mom. Like my mom literally quit her job, quit her career to take care of her mom. And I was like, I felt bad because I really couldn't afford to do that at the time. And so I had to hire someone to come in and help. And then as I was able to make more money, then I was able to have somebody full time. So as your sister said, when those visits came, they were more meaningful, they were more powerful. Right. I'm not burnt out. I'm not stressed out. I'm not frustrated, and I'm not taking it out on her. I'm spending that quality time with her and making sure that she's happy and she has everything that she needs.
Yes, and one more question I wanted to ask you is when a person, they're hearing your stories, everything that you're saying today, and we talked about the care home. What is one or two things that they should look for? I know that my sister and brother-in-law put my aunt in the best facility, but what if people are on a budget and they're not able to really find that? What are a couple of things they should look for? And Allen, Mr. and Mrs. Allen, y'all can chime in on that piece too. And Sonya, somebody, you all just kind of give us what should people look for when they, start looking for a place.
I'll be very, very brief so everyone else can talk. I have a lot of friends that own care homes. They're all at different budget levels. Everybody not super expensive where you can't afford it. The pharmacy that I use for my care home, the pharmacist actually has a care home that is inexpensive. So you can find all different types of care homes out there, and don't see what's on TV. The TV always has like the negative care homes that have 20 people living in there and no food. That happens. That's not all care homes. So if you have a bad experience, I would say don't give up. Keep looking, and you want to make sure that the employee to resident ratio is good. So I mainly like to have private rooms, and so I'm not overrun with people, and I make sure that I have 2 to 3 caregivers full time, 24 hours a day in my facility, and that's what you want to look for. You really don't want a care home or residential assisted living with one staff member, or even a nursing home. Sometimes they'll have one staff member for a whole hallway. Somebody's going to be neglected. Somebody's not going to get changed. Example for my mom, we would go there and her food would be on the side of the wall on the bedside table, but my mom couldn't walk. So how was she going to get up and get it?
Yeah.
And so those are the kind of things you want to look for to see, are people being fed? Do you have a smell when you go into that facility? Everyone that comes to my place, they're like, oh my gosh, we can't believe this is residential assisted living, because I really have it like a individualized Airbnb. Every room has a theme, and cleanliness is not a question. Like, you can eat off the floor, and we cook 3-4 course chef style meals a day and snacks. And so you want to make sure, that place is not just giving them sandwiches and soups and things like that.
And do drop-ins frequently. Always, always, always check on your loved one.
Good. Mr. Okay, go ahead. Lady Man.
Yes.
Well, go ahead.
I just like to say that you need to look at places that have different programs, and they're not just letting your loved one stay in the bed all day. And so in this process, before I forget that, I want to tell people that they need to talk to their parents or whoever their loved one is while they are functional before it gets too bad. Find out if they have a will, find out about all the things that they have in place that they want others to have. And so, because once they lose all the mentality, then the questions that you want to ask or really need, they can no longer answer that. So find out all the important things that you need to find out. Do you have a burial plan? Do you have this, that? So ask all those type of questions that you need to ask before it's too late.
I think Brother Allen.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add for those who will be viewing this is you may be new to this space, and it is a space of learning. And so when you enter into this space, you might want to find somebody that you can consult with, but you're in a space where you're going to be willing to try a number of things, hoping that this particular element fits and that won't fit. And so everybody talked about cleanliness and the level of care that this facility is going to provide. But when you're new to the space, you have no knowledge of any of that. Okay.
That's good.
So when you are starting your reading outside of what you can see, then you realize we tried everything. We didn't get to that last space until somebody informed us of that last space, because we were new to the space. And so it came down to, what is it that this person really needs in order to have a quality life? What do they need? And then what can we do with the level of resources that we have to meet that? And what we found in that space, that people were very amenable. It wasn't always a set number, because people care about individuals. So we had to say, this is what we can afford. And people met us there. And if they could, find something else for us, they would do that. And we were doing it just like everybody else. 3 months free, sign up today, try to do all that we can. So what I'm saying to you is that you're talking to human beings. Have real conversations about what you can do, what you can afford, what the person needs, and you will find that that help is out there. But you're new to the space, unless you're like Doc said earlier, and she understood it from her grandmother and had addition to a knowledge base that she had with her mom. That was not my resume. I had to start with the internet and start to read. Then I had to understand that the insurance companies sometimes are not your friends, And so you have to really, they had me faxing things. Because you imagine it was 20, and the only way to communicate with them was with a fax machine, and things of that nature. And so, but when you're new to the space, be open to the learning, be consistent in your pursuit. And I think that's what I was able to do for my wife. There's two parts to caring for a person. That's the business side and there's the loving side. And you got to take care of the business in order to love the person properly. And so that was a part for me to say, when you're new to the space, be willing to learn and whatever people share with you. And it's a step-by-step gradual process. Now, today, I feel like I'm an expert when somebody walks into the space. And I think God has prepared me for the next loved one I have that will walk into that space.
Yes.
But it was a journey of learning, not just caring at the same time, about how do you actually meet the needs of your loved one through assistance, through programs, through others, through facilities, and all that. And for me, and the last one, for Barbara Jacket and me, Barbara Jacket, I had to get to a space where I could cut the public off because she was
That's
so
good.
popular. People wanted her to come and do speaking engagements all the time. And it was extremely difficult for me to say she can no longer do that. I actually took her 2 or 3 times to speaking engagements, and I could see where she was losing her place and saying things that weren't quite in the time frame that it should have been. And I had to make the decision, that's the last one. That's the last one. And so people did not understand sometimes when I had to cut their desires and wishes off because it wasn't good for her, because Barbara Jacket always wanted to appear strong, always. And you would not see the same person that I saw. If you came to see her, she would take it up a lot, take it up a notch. She might could hold it for 15 minutes. And when you left, then I've got a different Barbara Jacket that I'm dealing with. And so all I'm saying to you, it's a space of learning. And it's just like going into your degrees, be open to research and whatever people are providing for you, but you will grow in that space of learning over time.
All right, and if I could
I'm,
add,
I'm going to, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Doc. Then I want to, Dr. T, I want to hear from you real quick too. I got a question for you. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
no worries. When Bobby became somewhat hard to manage. She was living with us at first. I think it was about a year. And we built our home, we built the house with her in mind. But it became unmanageable. The nights she's getting up, she's teaching her class in her mind, right? She's really engaged in the best she could to hold on to that little piece of who she was. And it's executed at all the wrong times. And so we just had to, this particular day, Mom was there and we called the ambulance. It was like, hey, we tried, we've done our absolute best, but I'm trying to get to they did the 14-day evaluation, and then there was some consultation after that. And after the consultation, they were able to support us in how you go about selecting the best facility based on your economics, what's good for the person that you're trying to support. And all of it. So they had a whole team that helped us. I don't know if you remember that, but they kind of helped us in. So when we looked at Clay Dogs, they said, well, this is the best one, but it's super expensive. And me, I'm like, I don't care. Whatever my aunt needs, that's the best one. That's the one we're going to get. Let's go for it. And we started out paying like $6,100 a month, right? Which was a lot of money. It was a lot of money, but the care was, in my opinion, it was the absolute best care. Certain days they would bathe her. They wouldn't bathe her every day, but maybe 3 times a week they would bathe her. Like Dr. E said, the food was chef prepared. They're preparing this food fresh every day. She got 3 meals a day. It was good food. It was good living. There was entertainment. People came in and worked with them and sang with them and all of that, played ball with them, because they were trying to keep them active and keep their limbs fluent. And the gentleman, if you remember that, he said, kind of like Dr. E, his vision was birthed because one of his parents, I can't remember which one it was, had dementia. And that's how he felt the need to create this facility. And it was beautiful. Anything you could think that you wanted to do in your home, it was there. It was there. And so just lastly, because I know we can all, when we're in this moment, we can just talk all day. But the one thing that I want to say is that I know it was a time for us to be strong for my aunt. But there was days when I got strength from her. And I would go in and just lay my head on her chest. And she would give me strength, right? It looked like she knew when I was having a bad day, she'd call out, "You okay?" Call out, "Kim, you okay?" And I would say, "I'm okay." And then she would just rub my head. They still the people that you needed when you had those moments when you were growing. And it's still something inside of them that you can get from them in those moments. And so I was able to see myself through a lot of days where my feet were moving a little slow, but she would just, even if she couldn't say something, because some days she would talk, and some days she just decided that this, I ain't talking today. And she wouldn't talk to you. I don't care how many questions you ask, she would just sit there and not talk. But I could still, she would grab my hand in such a way that I knew, she was telling me it's okay and I'm okay. And she would try to, like my husband say, get all this whatever strength from I don't know where to show me that she was okay. But it just wasn't. The toughest part for me was just to watch her deteriorate. It wasn't hard. The work wasn't hard for me because I felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? I got to do this. She deserves it, right? She's earned this. My aunt took care of me most of my life with the support of my mom and dad, but she did so much for everybody. It's like, okay, now it's your turn. How do I act like I'm not going to show up at my best? So that's what I did. It was kind of like reciprocity, which was one of her words. It's what you do.
So, Dr. T, being a mental health professional, I know you probably want to add something about Mother Stu too, but hearing all this as a mental health professional, hearing all these stories, what's on your mind about self-care and taking tools? What are you hearing in the spirit, and what are you seeing and hearing?
So I would say the self-care piece is very important. Many people don't realize the stress, the amount of just energy it takes when you taking care of someone else besides yourself. And so taking care of yourself is so important. And to be able to have that discernment and, as they say, check on your loved ones if you have to put them in a facility, because everybody is not you, but you know what you can do. You know, um, just when they are off, even, like I said, sometimes I'll go and spend time with my mom when I'm feeling down, because she gonna always have a good laugh. She gonna make you laugh. I mean, there's things I'm learning about my mom that I didn't know, because she had me when she was older. And so just to watch her go back to that state of when she was younger, she remember all the old things. She telling me about my great great grandma and just different things. And
Wow.
so it's just a learning. So just to have her um there and just to spend time with her is amazing. So it's something that's amazing. But like I say, the self-care piece, because it can become, when they get, violent. I've been there with my mom. She was about to hit me, and I'm like, wait a minute, Mom, it's me. And so, we'll laugh. She's talking about, well, I still, I was like, Mom, I ain't do that, And so, but then we'll laugh it off. The sweets, oh my God, it's like she had such a sweet tooth. More, and I was like, Mama, you're not, but that Weight Watcher. And so I say, Mom, if you eat that, you're gonna gain a lot of weight, because she lost a lot of weight. And she smiles. So she's very, when we go to the doctor, how much I weigh? Is that a good weight? Yes, ma'am, Mama. It's a good weight. It's a good weight. And so it's just a lot when it comes to it. But I can't stress enough about the self-care as being a mental health professional, especially when life is life. And I'm a pastor, I'm a mother, and it's just a lot. And so especially when you don't have the help. Our family is big, but some people, and I think somebody said this earlier, some people are still in denial. Like, all they know is this is Mother Stu. They don't realize, because some things she do remember. And so they don't look at her as, she has dementia or whatever. And I try not to as well, but because I'm in the field, I know what's what. So everybody is not educated, everybody don't know. So when certain things happen, they don't know. And so it's important that as caregivers, as people that are dealing with if you're dealing with dementia yourself or caregivers, to get the education needed to be able to handle it, but also be able to step away when you need to, because like I say, it can become overwhelming. So as a
I
mental
want
health
to,
professional.
I want to
Mhm.
ask you something about vicarious trauma. I'm gonna say that word, and then I want to ask this question as a mental health professional myself. It's okay to see a therapist yourself.
Yes.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about that, Dr. E. Let's talk about that right there. It's okay.
Mm.
Dr. I said Lynn, I'm prophesying. You're a Dr. Lynne Gamble Gordon. Okay, that means you're gonna get your PhD, girl. But that coping skill piece, if okay, like Lady Lynn made her wall and that helped her. What about if depression comes on, persistent depression symptoms along with that begin? Sometimes the actual tangible things don't work, and we need to, outside of prayer and stuff, we need to get therapy ourselves. For somebody that's listening, might say, I don't need no therapy. What does that
Mhm.
look like? What does it actually look like when you go, if you feel that? How, if somebody's saying, well, where do I go, Dr. E, Dr. T, where do I go? I mean, how do I start this thing? If I need to get a therapist, how do I know? I'm feeling depressed. I can't get out of bed. I don't have the
Mhm.
energy. And sometimes, let me say this as a mental health professional, regular tangible coping skills ain't gonna do it. Can I
Right.
talk a little bit? Because the brain is a
Mhm.
thing that is because of the
Mhm.
trauma stuff. You see that making sure it will change the whole trajectory of the brain. And next thing you
Yeah.
know, you got depression. And what works for some people, you might need some medication. So
Right.
we talk about support, but sometimes we gonna need to get a therapist or we gonna need to see a
Mhm.
psychiatrist. Let's talk about that piece. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about that piece, but
Right.
you might have reactive depression, which means it's not organic, but it's something that you're seeing and you're taking it in, and vicariously you're dealing with what
Mm.
you're seeing. Go get you some help, baby. Boo
Yeah.
boo, don't
I
stay up there like that.
Yeah, and it's okay to get therapy, because with all I had going on at the time, especially having to make a decision to release my mom to stay with someone else, going through a divorce or whatever, I got attacked on my job being a mental health care. I mean, there was so much going on until I went and got therapy, and it was one of the amazing things, because I wound up dealing with a lot in therapy that I didn't know, and with decision making with my mom and different things. And so, listen, it's okay, because like she said, listening to music, praying. Listen, I'm an intercessor. So those of you that are leaders, pastors, preachers, evangelists, prophets, apostle, it's okay to get therapy. There are sometimes sitting on someone's sofa and telling them, because they may give you. When I went, I had a Christian therapist, and she gave me another outlook on things that I didn't even think about. And so I didn't need the medication, because if you deal with the root of the issues, even from our childhood, you may not need medication. So many people are against medication, but listen, if you need medication, that's okay too. But if you go and deal with the issues, you may not need medication. But a lot of
Wow.
us run from the issues, and we don't want to deal with the root of the issue. And so that vicarious trauma, it carries on, and it goes from this one to that one until we say, listen, enough is enough. And we want to break the bloodline curses and this thing, deal with the root. Go to counseling, go to therapy, sit on the sofa and say, listen, I want to take it not just here because I'm a caregiver, but I need to deal with issues from trauma, from childhood. And it's okay. It's okay.
Mhm. And I'm gonna be quiet because I know somebody we getting ready, we drawing to a close because a lot of caregivers die from stress related illnesses.
Hmm.
You guys are the heroes, I'm telling you, because you've learned how to channel it in different areas, so you are the champions on the other end because a lot of people don't make it through that. And so I just wanted to be able to share resources. I know we get ready to draw to a close, whatever is on your mind. And Lady Lynn, can you just turn around and tell us about that wall real quick?
Well, on the wall, I just have pictures of family members. Um, Also, I have pictures of friends that have come and visit my mother, who played a big part in her success in her life. Um, the garden is about having flowers, butterflies. The garden means life. To me, that's what the garden means, life. And so when I first started the garden, I thought I had to do everything in one day. And then when I sat back, that voice came to me again and it said, you don't have to do everything in one day. This is a work in progress. So if it's
Yeah.
mom's birthday, we take pictures, we place that on the wall. If we do something great, we place it in the garden. So the garden is just growing with mother's life. So to me, the
Mm.
garden just symbolizes life. And basically, during this time, the garden has wrapped its arms around us. It's family, it's friends, it's community. It's just everybody just coming together. And it just lets people know that the thing that they're in, they have to have teamwork. This is a team. Your caregivers, your brothers and sisters, it's a team. And you're only as strong, like Miss Jacket said, your weakest link. And so I'm tying all that in to say, if Miss Jacket were here today, she'd say, it's okay, little baby. Everything is going to be okay. So I'm going to end on that note.
That's exactly right. And I want to say this because I want Dr. E to come back with something real quick, and then the other wonderful heroes on the line. Uh, uh, Lady Lynn, if somebody wants to start that wall, where would you tell them to start it? How would they just go get flowers or get you some, or how did you start with putting
Well,
it up?
well, when I thought about the wall, being myself, I know the wall can be massive. So you have to think about maybe cheaper places that you can find things, a dollar store, a Goodwill, just places where you
Yeah,
can find cheaper things to use because the wall can be expensive. But with it
yeah,
being a work in progress, you don't have to pay everything at one
yeah,
time. And so when
yes,
you do the garden, you're passionately moved. I don't work in the garden every day. I have
yeah.
to feel something. You feel something when you're working in the garden. You can put lights in the garden, light up the garden. We did a thing where we had mom on her walker and we walked in here and we called it light up the garden and we turned the lights on and she was just, looking at everything. So
Yeah,
um, just find things that you feel, like I have um, prayer words. I have Bible verses. I just have everything that I knew. The garden is about my mother,
yeah,
so it says my mother's garden. And I have things that she loved. She loved birds. She loved, different types of things.
yeah. That's beautiful. So Dr. E, did you have anything you want that came up in your spirit or in your mind that you want to share real quick?
Yeah, there's one thing I want to touch on that we hadn't touched on when we talked about the word medicine. It was definitely in my spirit. We was definitely aligned with that because
Yeah,
people, and I'm going to say it again, unfortunately, African American people do not believe in behavioral health medication from the children up to for the elderly. And especially if your elderly loved one is having behavior problems and becoming violent, they really do need to see a doctor that will be able to prescribe them something to calm them down because it's increasing their blood pressure. They may already have high pressure, it might be spiking their blood glucose level. So it's
yes,
in ways that's harming them, but you think that by not giving them the medicine, you're helping them, and when you're really harming them, and then they can't really think. What I've noticed in my memory care home is that my residents who were not on medication before, and I'll have nurses that come in and say, "Oh, I remember him. He was at this place and that place. He's never been this calm." And it's not about
oh,
a lot of the family members say, I don't want my family members zombied out. I agree. I don't want them zombied out either, but I want them to be able to at least calm down and think. I had one guy who wasn't even able to talk, articulate in years.
wow,
And once he got on the right medication, he has conversations with us. He brings up things from in the past. And I call his wife and she can't believe it. So
wow.
it is a need and it's there. And I just want people to be open to it. Also, one of my newest careers that I haven't really talked about much is I'm a biohacker, which means
Oh,
that
wow.
peptides and medication, and our body makes peptides anyways. So if you know that you have a history of dementia in your family, it can stop there. It doesn't have to keep going. So that you can look up and say what peptides on Google that will help with dementia, with Alzheimer's, with the memory in the brain. And I'm going to say
Yeah,
NAD, NAD is really big on social media right now. C-Link is for anxiety, and C-Max is for your brain, to improve your brain and memory and thinking. And so I'm on all of those. And actually,
Yes.
people tell me, you look a lot younger. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So I'm 46, which is
Yes.
pretty young anyway. It's probably for everybody on the panel.
Little baby, yes, a little baby.
20-year-old will say hi to me. I'm just saying. So yeah, I just wanted to give those nuggets.
Yeah, this is good.
Can I chime in, Pastor?
Absolutely, Doc. I was just coming to you.
I think you said something that was profound when you talked about the right medication, the right levels, the right they used to call it, I guess, a little cocktail, for to be sure that it is the best one for that individual. When a Bobby first left that evaluation in Oak Bend, she was quite zombie-ish when she first got to that facility.
Yeah.
And always in a stupor when we would go to visit her. And I was like, babe, that's not un-Bobby. They have to strip off her behavior, her personality. That's not what we want to do. So we had to go back to her original neuro doctor, Dr. Gill, and he was like, well, she's coming off this, she's coming off that, she don't need this, she don't need that. And so he kind of had a conversation with the doctors at the facility. They worked together. So we kept Dr. Gill on the team, who was able to balance some of that, where it was, let's just give her where she's just non-responsive kind of thing. That was good. So we have to continue to be an advocate for them.
That's a key word.
Have to be an advocate. Even when Bobby developed COVID, and they were saying, well, she's just probably not doing well. Do you want us to transport her to the hospital? Yes. I want you to transport her to the hospital. I want you to evaluate her 100%. And I want you to run tests on her just like you would run tests on somebody that you believe that could, advocate for themselves.
For themselves, absolutely.
Right? And so it came, it found out that she did have COVID. And you're telling me, oh, let's just let her. No, she can be comfortable, but everything that you can do, I'm expecting her to do it. Right? So you can't ever stop advocating for them. You have to be their voice. You know who they are, how they like things done. You got to try to incorporate that, as well as making the best decisions for them. But they're still a person. So let them just be comfortable. But if it's something you can do to make them better, let's make them better first. Then let's work with the comfortability, whatever it is that you can get. Right.
And I want to say a good example of that. I don't know, Dr. Eden, I know we got to bring it to a close, because this, like you said, Dr. Allen, we could talk about this, because this is a hot topic. We can talk all day. But Dr. E, with respect to Miss Alexander, she was so fluid and just so responsive up until, listen, I asked Miss Alexander, I said, do you know Barbara Jacket? Oh, yes, I know Barbara Jacket. And she was 97 years old. But just the fact how well your facility, and I want you to talk before we close, how well they took care of her. Dear made this joke. She said, she always put her teeth in. She want to look cute all the time with her teeth. She said, girl, we knew Miss Alexander wasn't feeling good, because that day before she passed, she didn't have her teeth in. And they say, we know that, because she would be asking Dr. Carvin, where's my teeth? She want to get my teeth in. So, Doc, just tell us a little bit about your facility. When I repost this, I'm going to put your information on there. But y'all, to people that are listening, this place is exceptional. It is one of the most, let me say this to my sister, I call her Dude. It is as pretty as where you had Aunt Bobby in. Top of the line. So Dr. E, can you tell us a little bit about how people can contact you and, those people that are interested? I want to put that out there. Because listen, I don't have dementia, but I could have very well gotten one of the beds, y'all, and went to sleep up in there.
You sound like the loved ones that come visit. They say, can I move in?
Retreat. It's like a retreat.
Yes, it is. It's beautiful.
Oh my God. Yeah. So how can people get in contact with you before we close out?
We have a website. The website is the name of the facility, which is Sugarland Serenity Senior Living.com. That's the website. I also give the phone number. Hopefully people catch the replay. You can call us at 713-332-9773. We do have social media pages. So we're on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And you can also just call the apostle. She can give you my personal cell phone number because personable. Like even with Ms. Alexander, we were at her bedside around the clock. We didn't play about our residents. And so I'm there for them, for families, anytime they want to come visit, anytime, you want to come out and just see the facility. If y'all want to come out here, we're open to all of that. So it's Sugarland Serenity Senior Living. We're on all social media, and we also have a website. And feel free to call us and contact me.
And also, I want to say this. I want, if everybody has one last remark, I want to say this to the panel. If someone feels comfortable with reaching out to you personally about your story, are you okay with us sharing your Facebook information? And if they want to talk, they might say, "Oh, I want to talk to Dr. Allen, Mr. Allen, or I want to talk to Lady Lynn or Lady Sonya, Dr. E or Dr. T by themselves. I don't want to be separate." Is it okay to share your Facebook information in case they want to contact you personally to ask some questions? Like you said, Brother Allen, this might be a new space for them and you hit it and they might say, "Oh, okay, can I call them?" Are you okay with us sharing that Facebook information? Okay. Okay.
And I want to ask one question before we leave, because you all talked about how caring for those people have taught you so much. Those that taught you, you learned from them. So I want to know, what is one thing you can say, one lesson that caregiving has taught you that you would carry on forever?
Oh, wow, that's good.
Ooh.
Let me start. One of the things I learned from being a caregiver is how to appreciate things. Because I probably would take the two parts of caregiver. And first, because you care, you learn how to give. We all know that you should be a cheerful giver. And what I've learned through that process is how to give. Because initially you want something equitable. Since I'm doing this, what am I getting out of it? Since I'm doing this, what is the benefit for me? But in reality, I learned how to give, and give with a sense of understanding that I kept seeing things in my life where God was taking care of me, and I kept relating it to this situation where I was giving. He kept giving to me in my time of need. And I just came to understand, when you give, you get.
That's good. Wow.
Dr. Allen?
Very similar to what my husband said is, if you're giving from your heart, not looking for anything in return. I think it taught me how to be a servant. A servant. Just serve as best you can and ask God to bless you, to continue to be a blessing, and remembering that when you take care of God's people, He take care of you. That just gave me rest. And so I just carry that with me just about every day. And just knowing that because I'm doing the work of the Father, that I'm okay.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Sonya?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so for me, it was appreciating the moments that I had, and even the littlest thing now means way more than I think it did before.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Appreciative.
That's good.
Dr. T?
That's what I was going to say, the moments and the memories. My daughter, them say that I get on their nerves because I'm always taking pictures. But years ago when we went through the storm, I lost a lot of pictures. So now I take pictures everywhere I go, and I love Facebook have the memory and different things because it comes up. And so the moments and the memories, even valuing, like I said, things that my mama tell me that I wasn't, because I'm the baby, my siblings much older than me, so I didn't know. So just learning new things. So creating those memories and moments.
That's good. Miss Lynn?
Yes, through this journey, I learned how tough my mother was. And I learned a lot about myself in this journey that I can take with me. I learned how I was so similar to my parents. I looked at my mother, and through all of this that she's been through, she's even been through breast cancer and different things, and now she's dealing with dementia. And I looked at my mother, and she never complained. And through all of this, she's still able to hold her composure and still be a lady and still be appreciative. And when we are caring for her, she'll still say thank you for doing certain things. And so as for me looking at my mother deal with all this, it has helped me to put things into perspective. And I look at how people care for her, who come to visit, who do things for her. And it's kind of like my mother gave. And so when you're kind to other people and you give, it shows, like when you go down, how people are just pouring in to just to do things, anything, anything we can do for you all. And so all that's to say is that um, I've learned that we all have a purpose for our lives, and I'm learning more of what my purpose is. You know how you sometimes wonder, why am I here, this and that? And a lot of my purpose is being here for my parents. And just like when I did the garden, I talk about how my mother, you are the wind beneath my wings. But now you were the wind beneath my wings. Now I'm having to be the wind beneath yours. And so I'm going to end with that. And all that to say is that I've learned to just give selflessly. And that's how I'm leaving it.
That's good. Dr. Ekiria?
I have two things.
Okay, go ahead, yes.
First is for those who are caregivers, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be embarrassed to share your story. People will help you think outside the box. Think about, like I said, church family, your community, your neighbors, your friends, your parents' friends, whoever. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need help. The second is live in the moment. Because what I've seen is that some people can change their altered state within 24 hours. 1 minute they're walker, they're talking to you, they're responding, and the next minute they're bedridden and don't remember. So those times when you have time to visit, time to celebrate, we try to celebrate football season, holidays, and Ned spends a lot of my money decorating for every season. She goes all out, and although I get upset with her, the residents love it, and so we try celebrations as we can, because you never know if tomorrow they're going to respond.
Yes.
I want to just tell the people whose families that are dealing with this, if you can visit. If you can take your parents home for the weekend, take them, because you can't go back and get those days back later.
And Tom, one more thing I want to say about Ms. Gamble's journey with Lynn. The whole, so many people from Port Arthur, Gary, y'all care system over there is the whole city. You got people, her track girls from Thomas Jefferson. You got people from Lincoln. You got people from just that's connected to the coaching, and just they take turns and they go in. I was talking to Lynn one day, and somebody came in. I'm like, what? Different people come in, and from the community, like she said, she gave. So those people, them track girls, come and rub her feet and do all that stuff like that. That was amazing to see that. Amazing. So, okay, Tom, turn it back up over to you.
All right. So at this time, we're going to bring it to a close, but I want you guys to just share. If there's someone listening right now that you're sitting here, you've been here, you've done this, but somebody that's not sure, like you said, they're starting out. What is one word of encouragement that you would give other caregivers listening right now? What would it be?
You say one word?
One word.
Oh, okay.
Whoever wants to go first.
Courage.
Courage. That's good, y'all.
Hope.
Oh, good. That's great.
Good.
for me, it was finding patience. So have a
Patience.
little bit of patience with the new journey.
That's good.
That's good.
Remember.
Remember, that's
Remember.
good too. Mhm.
And my word is breathe.
No, that's right.
That's good.
That's good.
Dr. Ekiria?
My word is love. Just the same love that we want to receive. Make sure that we're giving that back out. In order to give that, we have to use everybody else's words. We got to be strong. We got
Yes.
but to me, love conquers all. So it's love.
Yes, yes. Oh, wow, this is so good. So, Tom, we ready to close out?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Do you want to offer the prayer of salvation to somebody that was listening?
Yes, I did. I want to share a little bit. We had some people on here watching. We want to give a shout out to Rita Martin. She said this is very helpful, caring information. Also Sonya Branch, and she said, what would you all say helped you the most with you kind of shared it with your mental health when dealing with this diagnosis of your loved ones, and you kind of shared on that.
Lynn, is that your baby? Was that your baby?
That's my daughter.
And then we had Wanda Bowden. She shared.
Hey, Pastor Wanda.
Yeah, and she said that she said, baby, get you some help when y'all talking about professional help. And then she also said the Gambles built the sports dynasty. So that was the last thing.
Yes,
she
we
shared.
love Pastor Wanda.
Yes.
She is one supporter. I tell you, we love her so much.
Yes.
Okay, so Ty, you want to, I know the time has been well spent,
Yes,
so
yes.
so you want to do the prayer of salvation, or you want me to set it up? So let me do the prayer. Did you have the prayer of salvation?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, go ahead, sweetie.
So all this would be in vain. Yes, this is a podcast, but we do it unto God. We bring people that are able to help you through things, like we said, heroes that are here, that are just, people that are doing what God has called them to do. Everyone here, especially dealing with caring for their parents, it's a calling, because so many people cannot. So this is a walk that God has called them to do. Those have gone on, and those that are currently walking through this. So I want to go ahead and say at this time, if you want to give your life to Christ, or if you would like to rededicate, you can go ahead and repeat this prayer after me. And you can say, Dear Lord, I know that I am a sinner, and I ask for your forgiveness. I believe that Jesus Christ is your son, that he died for my sins, and that you raised him from the dead. Right now, I turn from my sins and ask Jesus to come into my heart and be my Lord and Savior. I want to trust and follow him from this day forward. Thank you, Father, for saving me. In Jesus' name, amen.
Let me come in real quick. Some people might say, oh, well, how does this go with the show? Well, as a believer in Christ, if we believe God, we want to give people every opportunity, especially in the marketplace. This is considered marketplace ministry. I know Dr. E can walk with me on that. It's marketplace ministry. A lot of times people may not be going to a church or something. We want to make sure that we do everything that we can do to give people the opportunity to accept Jesus. I don't care. When I accepted Jesus, it wasn't in the church. It was on my couch with the Robinson. What's his name? The Robinson man. He gone on in the glory. But that's what I'm saying. So it is, as a minister of the gospel, we want to present this information, but at the same time present this opportunity, because somebody may be at their wit's end with this situation. Yes. And say, I want to just kill myself. I'm not dealing with it. Comes along and saves their life and turns it around. So we definitely, when people say, well, how does that go together? Every opportunity, we want to give people the opportunity to receive Christ. So first, we want to thank Times. Anything else everybody wants to say? We good? Mm-hmm. We thank you. Well, first of all, we want to thank all these amazing guests for your time. That's the first thing. Thank you for your journey. Thank you for everything that you have shared. You are definitely heroes. Yes. And sheroes, okay? So we thank you, and we pray the blessings of the Lord over the loved ones that are still living with us and still today. We pray the Lord will keep them in the name of Jesus. And so for all the listeners that are out there at this time, we thank you for our group that's praying for us. We thank you for Pastor Wanda Biden, who helps us get this stuff out. For other people that are helping us do this, those that are praying for the podcast. Even if it's one, we don't care. We're not in this for popularity. We're in this to get the resources out. So we thank every amazing guest on this line for you being with us on today. And we pray the Lord's blessings over you for everything that you've given out. And we'll see you all next month for our new Heal and Regenerate episode. And we want to thank you so much and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.